On the coldest night of December, when the city's lights glittered like fragile promises against the dark winter sky, 8-year-old Lily Carter clutched her father's hand as they stepped out of the grand lobby of Carter Enterprises. Snowflakes drifted down in silent waves, frosting the ground beneath their feet. Jonathan Carter, one of the city's most respected CEOs and a widowed single father, had just finished a long, exhausting day finalizing charity budgets for the coming year. His life was polished, structured, and immaculate, exactly the way he thought it needed to be to protect his daughter. But fate had a different plan that night, because in the shadows beneath the street lamp, barely visible against the swirling snow, was a mother curled around a tiny infant, trembling as though the cold might swallow them whole. And Lily, with a heart shaped by the memory of the mother she lost, was the first to notice. Her small voice cracked through the night, and through Jonathan's soul. "Daddy, her baby is freezing. If you believe kindness can change the world, and that every life deserves a second chance, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps more people hear stories that warm the heart even in the coldest moments." Jonathan froze in place. His instincts as a father overpowered every polished CEO habit he possessed. He rushed to the woman, seeing the fear in her wide, exhausted eyes and the blue tint on the baby's trembling lips. They were wrapped in worn blankets that offered little protection from the bitter winter air. The woman tried to back away, as though she expected judgment or cruelty, but Jonathan removed his designer coat and wrapped it gently around the child. Lily knelt in the snow, whispering soft, soothing words that barely formed but carried every ounce of compassion she held. In that moment, beneath the city's towering buildings and endless wealth, Jonathan realized he was looking into the face of a crisis so raw and real that numbers on a spreadsheet could never reflect it. He helped the mother stand, her legs weak as if she hadn't rested in days. The baby whimpered softly, and the sound carved straight into Jonathan's chest. He placed a steady hand on her shoulder and convinced her to follow them back into warmth. Inside the sleek corporate lobby, security stared in shock as a billionaire CEO carried a homeless mother and child inside like newfound family. Jonathan ordered hot drinks and a blanket, while Lily stayed close, her small fingers gently stroking the baby's hand. The woman introduced herself quietly as Emily and whispered the baby's name, Oliver. It was then Jonathan noticed a detail that struck him like a punch. The baby couldn't have been more than a few months old. He wondered how long they had been suffering in the cold, unnoticed by the world moving too fast around them. As they sat beside a tall Christmas tree in the lobby, framed by silver ornaments and glowing white lights, Emily's story came out in fragments. She had once lived a normal life, an apartment, a fiancé, a future full of love. Until the tragedy. The baby had fallen sick, and hospital bills piled up faster than she could handle after her partner lost his life in a work accident. With no family to turn to, eviction came next. She had been searching for work, for shelter, for hope. But winter was cruel, and desperation had stolen even the strength to keep going. Jonathan listened with a heavy heart. He couldn't understand how a system could be so unforgiving to someone trying so hard, and he couldn't ignore how closely her story resembled his own heartbreak from years ago when he lost his wife. Only he had money to shield him from further pain. Emily hadn't been given that luxury. Jonathan decided then and there that tonight he would not send this mother and child back into the cold. He called his driver and instructed him to take them all home. In the warmth of Jonathan's penthouse, with its floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city and a fireplace glowing softly, Lily showed Emily to the guest room. Jonathan held Oliver, the small baby fitting perfectly in the crook of his arm. He watched the rise and fall of the tiny chest and knew that something about this night had changed him. The walls he'd built around his heart to survive the loss of his wife cracked open just enough for someone new to enter. Not romantically, but human to human, soul to soul. Morning brought the first gifts of hope. Jonathan arranged for a doctor to come see Oliver, and the diagnosis was simple: malnutrition and cold exposure, urgent but treatable. Lily stayed close to Oliver, bringing him toys and gently brushing his cheek with a kindness far older than her years. As breakfast filled the air with the comforting scent of warm pastries and cocoa, Emily struggled with overwhelming gratitude. She insisted she couldn't stay, worried she was a burden. But Jonathan gently reassured her that offering help wasn't a burden. It was what people were supposed to do for each other. Over the next few days, Emily gradually regained strength. Her cheeks filled with color, her hair regained shine, and Oliver's giggles began to fill the penthouse with life. Lily and Oliver formed a bond that brought joy back into Jonathan's home in ways he hadn't expected. He noticed the laughter returning to his daughter's eyes, laughter he hadn't seen since her mother passed. Emily offered to contribute however she could, cleaning, helping in the kitchen, and caring for Lily when Jonathan had to work late, but Jonathan wouldn't let her overdo it. He wanted her to heal physically and emotionally. At work, something was shifting in Jonathan too. He couldn't erase the image of Emily and Oliver in the snow. It ignited a fire within him to do more than write checks to charity organizations. He wanted his company to actively help struggling families, to partner with shelters and hospitals, to create real systems that prevented tragedies like Emily's from being repeated. His board members were initially surprised by his sudden push for expanded humanitarian programs, but Jonathan stood firm, explaining that success meant nothing if the people outside those glass towers were left to freeze. One afternoon, Lily convinced her father to take them to a quiet park nearby. Oliver was finally healthy enough to experience the world with bright, curious eyes. Emily watched the children play, tears filling her eyes, not from sadness but from the overwhelming realization that kindness had given her a chance she'd never expected. She confessed quietly to Jonathan that she had begun to look for jobs again and was determined to rebuild her life. Jonathan admired her strength deeply. She wasn't someone defined by hardship. She was someone who had refused to give up despite it. The days turned into a week, and then two, and soon the new year was approaching. Emily applied for several jobs, but many employers rejected her due to lack of recent work history or the need to care for a baby. She hid her disappointment, but Jonathan could see the exhaustion creeping back into her eyes. He made a decision that he had been contemplating since the day he met her. In a warm and sincere moment, he offered her a permanent position in his company's community outreach department. The offer came with flexible hours, childcare support, and a salary that would allow her to stand proudly on her own feet again. Emily covered her face with her hands, overwhelmed. Being given a job wasn't just financial support, it was dignity and a future. As Emily stood at her new office window on the first day of work, holding Oliver in her arms, she spotted Lily and Jonathan waving from the front lobby. She smiled with a hope she thought she had lost forever. Here, she wasn't just another name or charity case. She mattered. She belonged. The penthouse soon rang with the sounds of a found family. Emily cooked dinner on weekends, Lily read, books to Oliver at night, and Jonathan felt his home transform into a place of warmth again. The ache of his late wife remained in his heart, but now it was intertwined with gratitude for the life he was building. Not alone, but together. He saw in Emily a reflection of his own past pain and a strength that inspired him daily. And he realized that Lily's soft heart had given them both a gift far greater than wealth. The reminder that helping others was not just an act of charity, but an invitation to love. As winter melted into spring, Jonathan didn't just support Emily, he championed her. His company launched a new program aimed at helping homeless single mothers with medical debts find shelter, work, and hope. The initiative was named Oliver's Promise, symbolizing that every child deserved to be protected and given a chance. Emily became one of the leading voices behind the program, using her experience to guide others toward the support she wished she had received sooner. Many families found safety and opportunity because Jonathan and Lily had stopped to care that one cold night. Emily often wondered what her life would have become if they had walked past her without noticing. She promised herself that she would never let the kindness she was shown end with her. She volunteered in shelters, comforting frightened mothers, sharing her story as proof that life could turn around when someone believed in you. Oliver grew stronger every day, giggling and taking his first steps with Lily clapping beside him. The two children became inseparable, growing up with a friendship rooted not in circumstance, but in compassion. Jonathan watched his daughter flourish socially and emotionally. He saw her confidence grow and her grief lighten as she poured love into the world around her. He knew his wife would have been.